The New York Post wrote that woke wannabe film critics are canceling Christmas classics over toxic masculinity. This is from the New York Post. It says, woke wannabe critics are attempting to cancel some of the most beloved holiday films in history, calling out problematic plot lines and characters in movies such as Love Actually and The Holiday. While many Americans find comfort in reruns of these films, some Scrooge-like viewers claim that Christmas classics should be thrown out like an unwanted gift. And it's not just those relatively recent holiday films that are attracting the ire of politically correct users on Twitter. Movies made as far back as the 1940s are also being targeted by the Twitterverse for racism and misogyny. And so they want to cancel The Holiday. They want to cancel It's a Wonderful Life. They want to cancel the Santa Claus. They want to cancel Jingle All the Way and Love Actually. And so what's crazy is they do this because it's toxically masculine. And so they go, well, yeah, there are boundaries in gender. There are boundaries in expression. Basically, there is a way that you should be, and there's a way that you shouldn't be. That's all I read from this is like, there's a proper way for genders to act and to behave. But also, you can become a woman and compete in women's sports. You go, what the hell are you talking about? Because so what you're just doing is you're denying like toxic masculinity. Where'd that even come from?
Right. Well, toxic masculinity, of course, is to qualify, really to qualify men and how men are, to disqualify certain aspects of masculinity. It used to be that there was toxic masculinity and then was approved aspects of what I've called conventional masculinity. So the things that were useful, those weren't the toxic things. Like you got to be nurturing. So really to be the more perfected male today is to be a woman, is just to turn into a woman at this point. Because the more you align with the feminine, the more you get in touch with your emotions. You get, again, an age of emotions. The more you express yourself, men should cry and they should nurse and get a little, milk bag and nurse their children. Yeah. Become more like a woman, and then you will become a more perfected man. And the problem with that is it goes against the reality. The reality is that the machine, our evolutionary firmware, our evolutionary, what we are as human beings isn't that. And women really don't want that. They don't want a guy who's like, I'm sure you've heard of the term chore play. Have you heard of chore play?
No.
Chore play is when you do the dishes, right? Or you go and you do the laundry, or you change the baby, because women, it's supposed to free women up to like feel more amorous towards you, right? If you want to have a baby, right? It's doing the dishes, so doing more domestic chores around the house in the mistaken idea that your wife or your girlfriend or whatever is going to want to have sex with you as a result of that. And so therefore they call it chore play. Well, that's been around. I've been reading chore play articles since probably about 2005, 2007 somewhere. And they go back and forth. Now chore play is for real. Now it's not. Or now women do get off on guys doing chores around the house, but they got to be mowing the lawn and changing the oil in the car and doing something that's a little bit more masculine. And the whole thing is really rooted around this idea that men ought to be more feminine. We ought to be a more perfected guy is to throw away the things that make you a man, which is in some cases aggression, the things that make a guy a good savior, that make him a good rescuer, that make him a good a warrior. Those things end up being the same things that also make him, run into a burning building to go save the baby out of the burning building. You don't get that without the guy being, aggressive and mate guarding and wanting to, defend himself and be in a combat sports kind of thing. It's you get one without the other. But women and this social order has tried to feminize guys to say, okay, how are we going to do that? We'll disqualify those aspects, but we're going to reinforce and rebuild all of the feminine attributes. And we'll call that masculinity now. It's no longer your masculinity, or because that's patriarchy. So now we have to qualify it with a qualifier like toxic masculinity. But again, going back to how does it make them feel? What is the priority? What rationalism, objectivism, your truth versus the truth, all of that doesn't feel good. So if we have a generation after generation of men who are essentially just sort of dysfunctional, defective women, then you can weaken a society as a result of that.
A great philosopher once said that you can be 2 out of 3 things: liberal, smart, or honest, but you can't be all 3. At Slightly Offensive, we're smart and honest. And if you like this clip, head over to Slightly Offensive YouTube channel by clicking right here, where you can find new episodes of our show weekly. We're bringing you the topics, news stories, and angles that will have you saying, why the hell wasn't I subscribed sooner? Also, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to this channel too.